Alrighty, so today is our second in our video series of fall winter freezer meals. Oh, excuse me. So the first video, I'll link it below if you missed it. We made some breakfast sandwiches with my other granddaughter. Right now we are going to do a video that's primarily ground beef. So we're going to make some lasagna, some other pasta and meat sauce. We're going to make some meatballs, and then we're also going to just make some dry hamburger helper mix that we can use in the future, just like a hamburger helper packet that you would buy at the store, except this is not going to have all of those preservatives and things like that in it, because we're going to put it all together ourselves. So we are going to get started. Can you say hi to the camera? Say hi, everybody. Say hi. Wave. She's like, who am I waving at? There's nobody's there. Are you shy? No, baby, nobody can see you. It's okay. Whoa. Don't fall off the stool. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and just start browning our ground beef. Both of ours are still mostly frozen, so it's going to take a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and get some of it started and start cooking. So, and then we'll do the meatballs last. We'll do the meatballs last. That way our ground beef has time to finish thawing so that we can mix it together. You're really high? Yeah. All right, so since all of our ground beef is mostly frozen, it's going to take a bit for this to thaw and cook, which is fine because we've got our little 2-year-old helper here, and so you know, a 2-year-old is pretty needy, so especially at grandma's. Because grandma gives her whatever she wants. What? All right, so we got our meat cooked. I still have some more ground beef that I was going to cook for lasagna pasta stuff, but my bowl's full, so I'm just going to work with this for a while. So I'm going to get some water in here, and we're going to start with our lasagna noodles, and then we'll make our lasagnas, and then we'll cook our other pasta and mix that up. Any of you who've watched my channel for a while know that I do not like ricotta cheese, so I always use cottage cheese in my lasagna. If some of you hate that, I'm sorry, but that's what my family likes, so that's what we're going to use. I'm making a mess. I have to grab more than one. I've got plenty.
So you can see I swapped bowls. That bowl that I had was not going to be big enough once I started adding in all the other filling mixture to my ground beef. So now we're just adding in our cottage cheese to make our mixture, you know, the way that we want it. I have there, I think, 9 pounds of ground beef, and Brittany has 2. And so we are just adding in the appropriate amount of cottage cheese so that we can stir that up and have a good mixture. And Brittany was looking for another container, I think, and yeah, so she's going to get another container and put into her bowl as well.
Right, and you know what? I'm not going to save all these because I hate having to buy all these little plastic things. One time I went to a different Walmart and they had a gigantic tub. That was better because it was just one plastic tub, but this is the only way you can buy it, so. I can lick it. Don't touch me. Okay, I thought I had some Italian seasoning. If I do, I can't find it. But basically this is what goes in it. So we're going to put some oregano. Doesn't that smell good? And some basil.
seasonings.
I know.
Which one was it?
So Brittany's got her pasta sauce. I've got to go downstairs and get mine. I might have some in the fridge too. Pizza sauce, ketchup, strawberry jam. Okay, I have everything but pasta sauce, so let me go get some. All right.
All right, now add the rest.
So our water's boiling. So I'm gonna start putting some lasagna noodles in. All right. This makes me sad because I thought I had a whole bunch of pasta sauce left. And clearly, I do not.
This is very creamy now.
Look at that. I love this sauce. Because I'm not going back to Walmart. We spent way too much at Walmart this morning. But I was looking at it and really it's, you know, this is the money that I spent at Walmart is part of what's going to make us meals for, it's going to make us quite a few meals. So it wasn't like I just went and bought a bunch of junk. All right, so I did bring up one of my pizza sauce jars, but I also brought up some of the jars of just tomato, onion, and garlic that I canned last year. And I think that will make a good, you know, since we put the seasoning in it, that will be enough to, if I can stir this, holy cow. We need like a vat and a big witch's brew spoon.
Okay, you need a shoulder to work out.
I know. Ooh. Holy cow. I want to make sure that this all gets mixed up good because I don't want, oh man. Because I don't want part of it that's not very saucy. I think I might need to add maybe one more.
I think how pork is.
Yeah, because that's all it is. It's just tomato, onion, and garlic all cooked down together and blended up.
I like the color a lot.
It needs something. I think more oregano.
Measure with your heart.
That's the way I always measure.
I just saw a video last night. I was watching like this girl on TikTok. She's like, I know y'all always ask for measurements, but I just
Like, that's what I do. Unless it's something that's the first time you're making it, then generally I use the actual measurements or a close approximation. But if I've made it before and I know how I like it, I just pour it in until I'm happy with the way it looks. And I think a lot of people cook that way once they've gotten some experience and they're comfortable in the kitchen with some of the way things taste and how to cook things. Okay, since these are technically oven ready, I only cooked them a part way. So, hold on. Our counter space is disappearing on us. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and just get one of your pans to start with. Okay, so Brittany will be able to just pull out a full noodle and lay it in hers. I usually put a little bit of filling in the bottom, just a little tiny bit, just enough to, I usually put a little sauce, honestly, in the bottom, but since I don't have any more sauce, this will work. I just want to spread it out enough that it's not going to like completely stick to the pan. Okay, so my noodles I'm going to have to cut because they're too long for my little pan. So Brittany of course has a family, so it's It's her and her husband and 3 kids, so she's using family size pans, and I am just using these little square pans. I made I think last fall in these little square, I think they're 8x8, and it worked out perfectly for my husband and I. No, that's for the
Meatballs.
Meatballs, yeah.
That's right. I almost grabbed that with my fingertips.
Yeah, don't do
I would have regretted that.
You would have
so bad.
definitely regretted that.
Oh, come here, sucker.
Yeah, they're slimy and hard to hold on to.
Okay, so I can just lay
Yep,
them?
I would just lay it like that.
Okay.
Yep, and then that might take 4 across. Most of the pans take 3 across. It just depends on what you need. And then I just use like the leftover pieces that I've cut off of mine and just arrange them to fill up my pan. Okay, so then I'm gonna put
Some more?
a spoon of,
It took 3 across.
okay, I'm gonna put a spoon of the meat sauce, maybe 2, just depending on how you want, how thick you want your layers. And so we're gonna make our lasagnas with this meat sauce, and we're also gonna make just our pasta and meat sauce dish. We're just gonna use this meat sauce for everything. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put a layer of mozzarella on here.
The noodles.
Yep, and then just do another layer. And we have tons of noodles, so if we need to cook some more, we will. So Brittany was gonna make 3 pans of lasagna and 1 of the pasta, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I am going to make, I'm not sure since I couldn't cook all of my meat, but I have a ton here, so I'm gonna do, I think 8 or 10 lasagna, and then do the rest with pasta. Okay, so yeah, you can just keep layering here till you're at the top, because mine are not as deep. Then at the top layer, I usually just put noodles, ow, and then just top them with cheese. I almost stuck my hand in there without using the things. That would have been, while we're cooking, Grandpa's got the kids out in the pool, which is helpful for us because the bigger kids are fine, but the baby gets a little, she's 2, so sometimes it's a little difficult. But she's only 2. I know I've said this before, you guys, everybody's got kids or dogs or grandkids or spouses, whatever, that, they need your attention. And you just do what you can do, and that's enough. It's easier for me when I'm home by myself because I don't really have anything unless the dog needs to go in or out, which you guys know he does a lot. But if you've got small kids, or if you're watching your grandkids, or whatever the case may be, it's perfectly okay to say, okay, I had this big long list and I only got this much done. That's fine. It's not a competition between you and anyone else, or even between you and you. It's not a competition. You just do what you can do, and if some of it has to wait till the kids go to bed, then that's what you do. It's really not a big deal.
And if you have a pile of laundry that's been in your clean for 3 weeks, if you have a pile of laundry that's been clean for 3 weeks, you'll get to it.
That's right. Okay, so we've gone through the first 2 packages of lasagna noodles. I've got the water heating back up so that we can start the next batch. So we're just gonna, Brittany's got 1 pan done, I've got the 2 square ones, and we're just gonna wrap them in foil. So, and I'm just gonna cover it like this, kind of seal it around the edges.
Oh, I think I do this every time, like a child.
Get too much.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna use my marker. I hope I put it back. All right, so then I'm just gonna take my marker and I'm just gonna put on here lasagna. And then when we're all done, we'll stick these in the freezer. And what I typically do is, on a day that I know I wanna make lasagna, I'll just get one out of the freezer and I'll just set it still covered with the foil on the back of my stove so the animals can't get to it. But then I'll just let it sit all day, and by the time we're ready to cook dinner, it's usually pretty well thawed. I can put it in the oven and cook it and add some bread or salad or veggies or whatever, and it is, have sauce on me, it is perfect. So we're just gonna keep making these once our noodles are done, and then we'll be back when we're ready to start the other pasta, even though it's essentially the same process, but we'll be back. Okay, move.
Hello, it's me.
Okay, so
Hello, Jamie.
I see you. Okay, so we used up all of our lasagna noodles, and so we just cooked some rotini and added it to the pasta, the meat sauce that we had left. So Brittany was able to fill 1 more pan. I'm gonna fill up whatever mine takes, and we just topped it with, we're out of mozzarella, so we just topped it with cheddar cheese, and it will be amazing. I made a bunch of these last fall. It's just, it's like lasagna pasta, it's like lasagna sauce, but it just has different noodles in it. So we packaged up everything that we had ready and took it downstairs and put it in the freezer. When I finish with this, we're gonna take a little break and eat some lunch, and then we will do our meatballs and our dry hamburger helper.
The meatballs and dishes I'm gonna be in again.
I ended up with 6 pans of lasagna, and I'm gonna have 4 really full pans of this pasta. Brittany ended up with what, 2 lasagnas? 2 of the big, like family size lasagnas, and 1 of the pasta. So that will be really nice to have in the freezer when it's a day where you know your evening's gonna be kind of busy. My grandkids are in sports. Both of her boys play sports, so you guys, if you've had kids that played sports or were in any kind of activity, you know, sometimes your evenings are just run. So it's nice to have something ready that's easy to just pop in the oven while the kids are changing clothes or whatever, so you don't end up going through a drive-through. Okay, so I'm gonna add some cheese to these, actually. And I thought I had more mozzarella in the freezer, but all I found was Parmesan and some of my smoked cheddar, so that's okay. We'll just use this cheddar, it will be fine. It will still be delicious. And then, like I said, we're gonna get these in the freezer, and then we're gonna take a break, have some lunch, and then we'll be back to make our meatballs. Get as much of this off the counters as possible that I flung just now. All right, I'm gonna wrap these up, get them marked up, and we'll get them to the basement. So we'll be back. So we'll be back when we're ready to start on the meatballs. Alrighty. So each recipe. She told you. I don't know what she said, but she told you. Alright, so each recipe uses 1 pound of hamburger. So Brittany's got 2. I have, I think, 6.
So one.
You better
not potatoes.
You better be careful.
Yeah, don't fall down, honey. They're not potatoes. It's hamburger.
Breadcrumbs.
It's hamburger.
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, you can't see her.
And then you make a mess.
I know, Grandma made a mess. I'm gonna wipe it up.
And a mess.
So we're gonna preheat. Grandma's tired. We're gonna preheat the oven to 400. So we were supposed to mix up the breadcrumbs and milk first, and I forgot. So we're just gonna add everything together. So we're gonna put a half a cup of bread. Yes. I see. She's trying to imitate her picture. Okay, so we're gonna use a half a cup of breadcrumbs and 2/3 cup of milk for each pound of ground beef. So you've got 2.
So I need a cup.
And I've got 6. So I need 3 cups, and that black measuring cup right there is better cup.
Okay, cool.
So I need 3 cups. Okay, so you pour.
Dump it.
Okay, everybody gets a turn.
Okay, now it's Silas' turn to dump.
Chew with your mouth closed, buddy, okay? Okay. It's your Gwen
My
turn.
Gwen turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the whole bowl.
Thought it was, but I wasn't sure. Dump it all in there.
as slowly as possible.
Good job, Mama. Okay, so we need to get some milk, but
No.
I need to get in this, wait, yes, I need to get in this.
That's true.
Okay, so 2/3, so you need 1 1/3 cup.
Okay.
I'm pouring now. Grandma,
Okay, you can help Grandma pour the milk.
Can I do
Or you know
that?
what?
Can I do help you with it? That milk? Can I pour the milk? Can I pour the milk?
Everybody will get a turn, okay? Just like with the,
All right.
I'm gonna fill up the container though.
No.
Okay.
Let her fill it up and then you can dump it
Okay.
in.
1 1/3. Okay. Okay, when it's your turn.
In there.
So do you usually fill the milk up with that milk, big fat milk?
Yeah, because this one's almost gone. Hold on, let's move this stuff out of the way. Okay.
So
Okay, you
all
do
of
it.
us just
Hold it
do
right here.
3?
And just pour it. Whoa! Good job! It's glass. I'm gonna put it over here. So now we need 1/4 of an onion for each recipe. So you need. You have onion? You'll get onion?
I get an onion.
Okay. So we're gonna chop some onion and put it in with our recipes. You need a 1/2 an onion for yours,
Does one want to come?
and I need
Do you want to go play?
Upstairs?
1 1/2. So that'll work out perfectly. I don't know how those people that work at that chop onions for like Chipotle or something like that. I do not know how they do it. So we want this finely diced, so just cut it in like really thin slices. So when you cut your half off, cut in really thin slices and then just chop those up. And if they're not super fine, it doesn't really matter. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you do.
Woo, here we go. And I have tried
I'm not a
everything.
professional.
Oh yeah, I'm not either. I have tried everything that people say, oh, do this, do this. It doesn't do any good for me. Okay, why am I? It's just we want our pieces fairly small because they'll be in our meatballs and it'll be, we don't want.
I know that. Can't you?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh, these are strong.
They are really strong. You know, my theory was that people with darker eyes don't have this problem, but
No.
apparently that's not true. Can you finish that one for me?
Maybe 12 pieces.
Yeah, it needs to be like this. Holy cow, like teeny tiny pieces like that. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Thank you. Now, I'm gonna take my spoon and I'm gonna like bury the onions as much as I can so that hopefully we can function through the rest of the recipe. Oh my God. I don't know. Woo! Holy cow. That was torturous. Okay. We're just going to use a couple of these. You know what? I'm going to put these, actually, I'm going to warm these up so that they're easier to stir in. Okay, so I melted down some of my garlic pucks. It called for 2 cloves minced for each recipe, but we're going to call this good. This is about 1.5 to 2 cloves in each pot. Okay, and then we need 1 large egg for each recipe. So you need 2 and I need 6. So I don't know how many are left in there. Just kind of eyeball it a little bit as you open it just in case. Make sure that it's not like bad. I mean, usually you don't find bad ones until they're old, but.
How do you know they're old? Like, what will it look like?
Oh, you'll know.
Oh, you'll know?
Trust me. Trust me, you'll know if you have a rotten egg, because as soon as it cracks open,
It's like,
it'll be brown, it'll be like black and green, and you'll smell it immediately.
oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And that's why I usually break them into a bowl first, because you don't want to ruin a whole batch of things because you put that last egg in and it's bad. So probably we should have done that, but we were lucky. Okay. Egg, salt and pepper, Parmesan cheese. Okay. 1/4 cup for each recipe. So you need 1/2 cup. Okay, but I don't need both of these. And that's 1.5 cups-ish. We're gonna do a teaspoon of dried parsley. So close enough. Close enough for each recipe. And then we'll do some salt and pepper. So there's a little spoon in there. I would probably do maybe 1 spoon of that. Okay. And I'm just gonna sprinkle some pepper in here, and keep in mind I have a lot in here. I have 6 pounds of meat. Yeah, I would just do 1 spoon for yours. That's probably plenty. And then pepper it however much you think you might need. I think I'll just do about 2.5.
There you go.
Now we're just gonna mix this all up. The easiest way, honestly, is with your hands. Once you kind of get it started. You know what? I'm not even, I'm just gonna use my hands. This is gonna be the easiest way to get all the breadcrumbs and hamburger or whatever meat. You don't have to use ground beef. That's just what we used. You can make it with ground turkey, ground pork, ground buffalo, I don't know, whatever you want. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, we made these last fall as well. I think we made lasagna last year too. What else did we make?
I don't remember. Maybe pot pies again?
Oh yeah, I think we made some chicken pot pies. We did some soup. So, you just want to mix it until it looks like everything's, really mixed together well. And I can see when I was crying, I didn't do a good job on chopping some of my onions, but that'll be okay. Alright, so now we're just going to use So we're going to use baking sheets. We're going to line them with some parchment paper. All right, so now we're going to use cookie scoops to form our meatballs. And you can use whatever size you want. If you don't have a cookie scoop, you can use a teaspoon. And then we're just going to kind of form them into balls after we've scooped them out and put them on our sheet. And this recipe is really good. I think the first time we made it was, it's been a few years. Well, it was when Glenn was a baby.
So yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, so it's been, this would be the third time we've made it. But it's really, really good. And the recipe actually makes Italian meatballs. So it calls for Italian breadcrumbs. I just bought regular breadcrumbs, but even if you do Italian, it doesn't matter. You can do, you know, spaghetti and meatballs or something like that. But I have also done, I've made rice or potatoes to go with them and then just put brown gravy on them, and that is really good as well. They're basically then just like a, oh, they're playing. I was like, what is that? They're, you know, they're kind of like a little Salisbury steak, except in a ball form. But these are amazing. They're super easy because we're going to let these cook, and then we're going to let them cool. Once they're cool, we're going to flash freeze them on a tray and then put them in baggies so they don't stick together. And so then it's really easy to just pull out whatever you need for a meal and warm them up however you want to warm them up, in the oven, in the microwave, whatever. And then just add whatever you want to them. And it's super simple, and they are really, really good. All right, so we're going to put these in our 400-degree oven, and we're going to bake them 18 to 20 minutes. And then if your meat is greasy, ours is not really greasy because it's grass-fed beef, then you can kind of drain that off. But I'm going to put these in the oven to cook. Brittany got most of hers on her tray. I still have a lot because I had 6 pounds of meat. So we're just going to process these through the oven until they're all done, and then we'll show you what they look like. It's the next day, and our meatballs are ready to go in bags. So I'm going to bag those up, and then, oh, sorry, honey. And then everything will be done from our ground beef freezer meal day. So I've just got some Ziploc baggies that are marked with the date, and I'm just going to put these in here. So I counted mine yesterday, and we had
Don't touch it.
we had 115, and I forgot to count Brittany's as I was putting them in this to put them in the freezer. So I'll count hers as we bag them up. The rest of this one is Brittany's, so we can count those as we put them away.
Short.
No.
Can I help you?
No.
What even are they?
Okay, so Brittany's got 36. As hard as it was, okay. All right, so Brittany had 36. We've got 115, but Brittany had 2 pounds of meat and we had 6. And so I flash froze them so that they wouldn't stick together in this bag. Be careful. And then it'll be easy to just pull out whatever number of meatballs that you want to use for your meal. All right, so we're all done now with our ground beef freezer cooking day. This was our last thing. So we ended up with, I ended up with 115 meatballs, 6 lasagna, 4 pasta bakes, and did we do anything else? No. And Brittany had 2 lasagnas, a pasta bake, but hers were the big family size. Mine were the little 8x8. And what did I say? 36 meatballs. So if you missed...
35.
I think it was 36. Okay. So if you missed the first video in this series where Isla and I made a bunch of breakfast items, I'll go ahead and link that below. I will also link the recipe for the meatballs. I don't think we needed a recipe for anything else. If we did, I'll add it. But I just want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you keep an eye out. There'll be one more video in this series where we will use primarily chicken. And that should be coming out shortly. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
Bye. Bye. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. And like.